Croatia's Adriatic coastal town of Rijeka is the picturesque setting for round 2 of the 2016 FIM Sidecar World Championship. Against the stunning backdrop of mountains and forest, former GP circuit Automotodrome Grobnik hosts the first double race weekend, with a sprint race and gold race offering a total of 50 championship points to the fields. The opening round of the 2016 campaign provided an immediate challenge to the F2 Trophy and World Championship outfits after a winter break, with wet weather complicating proceedings right from the start. Reeves and Clues quickly assumed their regular position at the front after a disappointing qualifying session, and were never headed from there as the battles developed behind them. Päivärinta and Kainalainen made a slow getaway from second on the grid, but worked their way through the field, picking off Ben and Tom Birchall for fourth, and then taking advantage of a spin from Schlosser and Hofer to move into a podium position. They progressed further after a dramatic crash for Peach and Richardson that took the British duo out of the race. Schlosser and Hofer gradually recovered after their spin and moved into third and the final step of the podium, while despite dropping to fifth overall, Ben and Tom Birchall finished comfortably first in class. 7 times winners in 2015, Reeves and Clues immediately opened the new season with a light-to-flag victory to take command of the championship. In the F2 World Trophy, Ben and Tom Birchall finished over a minute in front of the remaining outfits in an alarming opening display. Meanwhile, in the World Championship, strong recovery rides from Päivärinta and Kainalainen, and Schlosser and Hofer kept them in contact with Reeves and Clues. After a subdued opening round, reigning champions Stroyer and Kurtz sit just 7th. Sidecar leads the programme in Grobnik for the regular Croatian stop on the calendar. With more than double the number of entrants this year compared to last, spectators have plenty to watch out for as Reeves and Clues bid for a 5th consecutive Croatian Grand Prix win. In a surprise result to qualifying, Reeves and Clues were kept from the front row by the number 3 of Holden and Ramsey, the number 72 of Delanois and Rousseau, and the number 9 of Schlosser and Hofer. The 2014 and 2015 double winners lined up off the second row alongside Päivärinta and Kainalainen, and just ahead of Ben and Tom Birchall, the top qualifiers from the F2 class. Their nearest challengers were separated from them by 8 outfits, Grabmuller and Kirchhofer starting the race in 15th. Another subdued start to the weekend for reigning world champions Stroyer and Kurtz. A poor getaway from third for Holden and Ramsey on the inside of the grid. Päivärinta and Kainalainen away well from 5th. Were blocked down to the first turn by Reeves and Clues. The number 77 quickly through from 4th to 2nd, carving past the number 72 of Delanois and Rousseau. Meanwhile, down the field, fast-starting German duo Sattler and Neubert were quickly overhauled for 7th position by the Birchall brothers, but maintained their top 10 place after their effort from the 5th row of the grid. The number 16 Honda was then released into a 4-lap battle with Stroyer and Kurtz, returning to 6th position with a smooth inside pass. Taking advantage of the superior straight-line speed of their F1 outfit, the reigning champions quickly dashed back through, heading into the second lap, and the pair closed on the number 3 of Holden and Ramsey. Reeves and Clues closed right onto the tail of Schlosser and Hofer on lap 1, the 2 front-running outfits separated by less than half a second over the line, but the number 77 outfit slowed with mechanical problems and darted back into the pits to recover, their hopes of a 5th consecutive win in Rijeka extinguished. Eventually, the problem loose exhaust was repaired to enable the team to get back onto the track, but for a duo who were only denied the title last season because of mechanical failures, this was just the latest in a catalogue of misfortune. They returned to the circuit a lap down at the back of the pack. just a second slower than Stroyer and Kurtz on lap 2. Holden and Ramsey continue to slip back from their initial third-place grid slot, dropping to 5th at the start of lap 3. And their disappointment was compounded when Ben and Tom Birchall also found their way through, relegating the number 3 outfit to 6th and putting the number 16 back in pursuit of Stroyer and Kurtz, now up in 4th. Stroyer and Kurtz had shown promising early pace, but their speed evaporated after the opening 3 laps, and they fell quickly into the clutches of Ben and Tom Birchall. The Honda pair moved 4th, remaining comfortable leaders in the F2 class. The number 56 of Ruts and Fries enjoyed a strong race, moving through the field from 14th on the grid to 9th. After moving past the number 50 of Dichon and Peugeot on lap 5, they maintained position to the finish. With Reeves and Clues out of contention, Schlosser and Hoffer remained the race leaders, but with only a 1-second lead over Delanois and Rousseau. The 2 Suzuki outfits had been separated by just a second in the battle for pole position, and their personal duel continued throughout the race. Holden and Ramsey's dramatic descent from 3rd on the grid continued as they eventually finished 8th, overhauled by the number 66 of Rocher and Burkhardt and then by the number 111 of Galros and Dalhusen on lap 7. Reeves and Clues rode 3 seconds per lap off the front-running pace for the remainder of the race, but did enough to complete the mandatory 7 laps and become classified finishers, and they salvaged further pride with a late pass on fellow lapped runner, the number 12 of Daru and Burton, to move out of last position and into 17th. Delanois and Rousseau began to fall back from Schlosser and Hoffer by small margins on the final 4 laps, dropping towards the number 44 of Päivärinta and Kainalainen. But time ran out for the Finns as they weaved their way through lap traffic, and they had to settle for 3rd, less than a second behind the number 72 outfit. Schlosser and Hoffer's leading margin of just 2 seconds on the final lap was the largest it had been all race. The 3 podium finishers separated by just over 3 seconds at the end of a close-fought sprint. A first win for Markus Schlosser after 3 years out of the World Championship, and delight in equal measure for Thomas Hoffer, whose participation was in doubt right up to the first race of the campaign as a result of a thigh injury. A perfect reward for the team's hard work, the 2nd consecutive podium and the championship leads. An impressive 7 different nationalities in the top 8 in an unpredictable race. A last lap change of position for the number 111 of Galros and Dalhusen, who took 6th from the number 66 of Rocher and Burkhardt. Enjoying their race with Stroyer and Kurtz over 4th, Ben and Tom Birchall were the top F2 performers, comfortably clear of Bachmeier and Weschelberger, 12th in the race and 2nd in class.
Yeah, great. It's good to be back here. It's a year since we was in Rijeka, and it's a track that we really like. And yeah, the bike was great all the way through. No real problems with tyres, a little bit towards the end, but nothing major. And yeah, we're happy. We look forward to tomorrow for the big race.
With only 3 outfits competing in each of the opening 2 rounds of the campaign and Le Mans runners-up Kors and Lelebes missing in Croatia, a 2nd consecutive win for Ben and Tom Birchall gave them a commanding lead in the F2 class. A first podium of the season for Bachmeier and Weschelberger, and for Rossinger and Werner behind the dominant class leaders. A first podium of the season for Delanois and Rousseau at the expense of Reeves and Clues, who benefited from the absence of F2 runners in the World Championship classification to claim 3 championship points.
Yeah, the race is correct, absolutely. We must look for the tires, every round, every corner, and yeah, we works really good. The bike is really good, passenger is perfect. Well, this is, yeah, absolutely perfect day for me and also for my team.
Reeves and Cluj dropped from 1st to 4th in the standings as the last F1 finishers in the sprint race. Only 2 outfits made the top 3 in both of the opening 2 events, and they held the top positions in the overall standings. The F2 World Trophy joins the World Championship for 2016, meaning a large variation of different outfits on the grid together, even within the same category.
Formula 2 outfit, which is the short outfit, is a lot different configuration. The engine's in front of the driver and it does use forked steering, traditional type steering. It's a more of a conventional sidecar. So yeah, that's the perfect entry-level bike and that's what it was really designed for. The bike we use is the original Formula 1 chassis. It's exactly the same as the 1000cc's used, but we just installed the 600cc engine in it. So that is the monocoque, original monocoque design chassis. The longer type chassis, I think, is the chassis you would need if you was going to attempt to win a Grand Prix. It seems to handle better. It's more technologically advanced in the way that the steering works compared to the short conventional.
The tracks and the bikes will have different areas of strength and weaknesses, so at Le Mans we thought we'd be in trouble with it being such a long straight, so we didn't think we'd be so competitive, but when the rain came it helped us a little bit. We could use our power a little bit smoother and easier than the 1000cc. Now we come to Croatia and it's a very flowing, nice circuit, so it will be interesting to see, but definitely we'll be trying to get on the podium at some point this year. We're still doing the work with Louis Christian to make sure that it is the best way to go. So although we're gathering data, you know, we're still trying things from track to track, so it's not always a forward step. Sometimes we make a change and go backwards. But this championship's really strong and there's some really good, clever engineers within the championship, so when they make the switch, we know it's going to be hard work anyway. Our target is just to promote the Formula 2 World Cup and try and go forward with that, but if it comes that we're developing the bike and we get to run with the front Formula 1 guys, then yeah, that'll be a good challenge and great for spectators and for the championship.
A first podium finish of the season in the sprint race moved Delanois and Rousseau into 3rd in the championship standings and to within 10 points of the overall lead. For this race, we're going to focus on strategy, get the best possible start and then control the first laps. The race is pretty long with 18 laps, so I think it's about saving your best until last. The track isn't particularly hot at the moment, but there is a lot of wind. The plan is to be consistent at the start and then throw everything at the last 5 laps to be near the front or to win.
Tirer le maximum de régularité dans le départ et puis de mettre le gros dans les 5 derniers tours pour pouvoir être devant, gagner, voilà.
Beaten by Delanois and Rousseau in the sprint race, Päivärinta and Kainalainen nonetheless held 2nd in the standings thanks to their runners-up position ahead of the French duo in Le Mans. And they hope to record a 3rd podium finish of the campaign as the outfits took to the track for the gold race. With tyre wear having provided difficulties to several of the riders in the latter stages of the 10-lap sprint race, the famously abrasive Automotodrome Grobnik would pose a major challenge in the 18-lap feature-length contest. After lap 1 retirement for Grabmuller and Kirchhofer in the sprint race, the gold race provided a similarly dramatic start for the number 97. Slow away from the line, they left the grid down in 20th and did well to weave their way back into contention and up to 15th by the end of the lap. Despite taking the whole shot from pole position, Schlosser and Hoffer were inexplicably slow on lap 1 and they began to drop back from top spot. Reeves and Clues came through early in the lap with a straightforward inside pass to restore their pride after sprint race disappointments. Repeating their day 1 exploits, Ben and Tom Birchall suffered a poor start from 6th and were left to recover from 9th place. They had to cut their way past Galros and Dalhusen for 8th by the end of lap 1 and continued their recovery from there. Schlosser and Hoffer continued to struggle through the opening lap, running 2 seconds slower than Reeves and Clues and into the clutches of Päivärinta and Kainalainen. From pole position back to 3rd, a disappointing start for sprint race winners Schlosser and Hoffer. A strong start for Päivärinta and Kainalainen, who were less than 1/10 of a second from the lead by the end of the opening lap, and continued to press forward and challenge Reeves and Clues. Ben and Tom Birchall's lack of straight line speed gives them a unique challenge against the F1 outfits this season, but they continue to hold on to the front-running race, a fight developing for 7th against Streuer and Kurtz. As in the sprint race, the number 16 took advantage of the twisty infield section to pass the reigning champions. Second in the F1 class, Grabmuller and Kirchhofer continue to make their own progress from the back of the grid, moving past Axelsen and Neilands for 14th, 2 positions clear of 3rd place F2 runners Bachmeier and Weschelberger. The only battle within the top 10 positions was the race for 7th, where Streuer and Kurtz returned the compliment on Ben and Tom Birchall, and the seesaw contest continued. Just as race positions had begun to stabilise, a dramatic crash for the number 669 of Axelsen and Neilands brought the race to a halt, a tyre failure sending them into the wall and covering the track in debris from their wrecked machine. The race was halted for the clean-up operation and restarted in the positions at the end of the last fully completed lap. 4th place runners Hegarty and Neve the only casualty, a snapped gear lever leaving them out of the race. Reeves and Clues lost 1st position in the restart, Schlosser and Hoffer making the fastest getaway to lead for the first time since lap 1. Rutz and Fries were the biggest winners in the restart, leaping from 10th to 6th, although they quickly dropped behind Ben and Tom Birchall around turn 5. Päivärinta and Kainalainen had been a danger to their rivals all weekend and had attacked the back of Reeves and Clues before the race stoppage. They sighed their way through for the lead in the restart, cutting past Schlosser and Hoffer at the start of lap 6. Grabmuller and Kirchhofer had also benefited from the restart and were up to 12th before they lost the position to the recovering Rocha and Burkhardt. Streuer and Kurtz lost out to 2 outfits in the second start to the gold race and took 2 laps to get back in front of Rutz and Fries. The Dutchmen were unable to make any further impact from there and held 7th position to the finish. Grabmuller and Kirchhofer finished 12th, taking the position back with the number 17 of Gray and Christie dropping from 10th to their eventual finishing position of 13th in just 2 laps. Reeves and Clues began to struggle for pace in the closing stages, backing up a pack of 3 outfits, all within a second of the number 77 with 6 laps remaining. 4 seconds per lap off the front-running pace and 12 seconds from the lead too, Reeves and Clues had their hands full to hold on to the last step of the podium. Their struggles also gave Ben and Tom Birchall an opportunity to mix with the F1 runners once again as they moved briefly to 6th. But Holden and Ramsey recovered down the inside into lap 14, passing both the number 16 and the number 72 in one move for 4th. Schlosser and Hoffer had never been far behind Päivärinta and Kainalainen, and the Finns began to drop their pace 5 laps from the finish. Taking advantage, the Suzuki runners moved through to take the lead for the first time since lap 5. And they quickly sped away from there, 3 seconds a lap faster than the number 44 outfit in clear air. Further down the order, Holden and Ramsey continued their remarkable resurgence, from 6th on lap 13 to 3rd by the end of lap 14. They became the first in the train behind Reeves and Kloos to finally break past the former champions. It took 2 further laps for Delanois and Rousseau to find their way past Reeves and Kloos for 4th place. The Yamaha runners in free fall, some 5 seconds per lap off the lead times. A perfect view from Ben and Tom Birchall's Honda in 6th as the French outfit ahead ran wide to build up momentum and make the pass coming off turn 5, a textbook cutback move. Schlosser and Hoffer were a full 5 seconds clear with 2 laps remaining, and Päivärinta and Kainalainen progressively slower in the closing laps. Meanwhile in 5th, Reeves and Kloos, 6 seconds back from their own fastest laps, were dropping dramatically through the field. Ben and Tom Birchall became the latest outfit to move through, their perennial rivals enjoying a giant killing mission with their F2 outfits. A second race win of the weekend for Schlosser and Hoffer, who seemingly reserved enough of their tyres' life to get the better of Päivärinta and Kainalainen in the closing laps. The Finns and former champions Reeves and Kloos clearly had nothing left by the end, both dropping back dramatically in the final laps. Holden and Ramsey slipped back after their late race resurgence to finish behind Delanois and Rousseau, the French outfit putting in their pass on the final lap to take the 3rd step on the podium. To their credit, Ben and Tom Birchall finished just 3 seconds behind that battle, comfortably first in class ahead of Grabmüller and Kirchhofer. None of the remaining F2 runners stayed on the lead lap.
Yeah, it was good. I knew that we could be strong because we don't have a problem with tyres around this circuit, and it was great to win the race and also to challenge the Formula Ones a little bit. It was good fun. I enjoyed it, and I think it was a good race for the people to watch as well.
With the 2 Austrian outfits taking points from one another, a comfortable 3rd F2 victory for Ben and Tom Birchall gives them a 26-point championship lead a third of the way through the season. The race for 2nd looks more competitive than the battle for 1st. Back-to-back wins for Schlosser and Hoffer, who showed impressive control in the gold race to sit behind their rivals and manage their tyres before eventually firing through to a 9-second win.
Perfect day for me and the weekend for the team, and as going after perfect racing, and yes, I hope it's going so better and better in Pannonia Ring.
After a weekend to forget, Reeves and Kloos dropped to 4th in the standings and into a familiar pattern as arguably the fastest runners have ground to make up once again. 2 second-place finishes for Päivärinta and Kainalainen keep them within 10 points of the leaders, but with back-to-back victories, comeback duo Schlosser and Hoffer move into top spot in the championship chase.